the gold and silver roller coaster continues. Plus, we take a look at Chainlink, the oracle of the internet. That's this week's crypto. This is your precious metals and crypto price update and analysis, brought to you by Ainslie Bullion, Ainslie Crypto, and the Gold and Silver Standard. In particular, head over to that last one, goldsilverstandard.com. It's digitized gold on the blockchain, backed by real physical metal, at least worth checking out once it may interest you. So use the time codes below to go to your favorite metal or crypto straight away. We're going to start with gold, then do silver, then come back to good old Linky right here. So let's start with gold. We're looking at it on the weekly time frame right now. It's priced in US dollars, 2025 US dollars. Now, I get asked a lot if we can do it in other currencies, particularly because we are here in Australia. I will do that every now and then. I won't do it this week, but you just do have to be aware that foreign currencies float against the US dollar. So you're not only contending with the up and down of the gold spot price in US dollars, but then you're contending with your foreign currency floating against the US dollar as well. So it's an extra factor that you have to take into account. So that's why we always focus just on the US spot price. But every now and then I will do a foreign currency. Usually it's Australian dollars again, because we are in Australia, but not today, but gold here. Let's pop on the indicators and have a look at where we were last week and talk about this roller coaster. So we had been talking about, over the last couple of weeks, a couple of key trend lines, this downtrend line right here and this uptrend line right here. I was saying last week, in order for me to be, confident that we may be continuing on our way up, we will want to at least break above this downtrend line, which we had done at a point. We'd come back and we'd had a bit of a retest as well. This is on the 1 hour time frame, just so you know, but I just want you to see the roller coaster nature of gold and silver at the moment. And I did say that breaking above and holding above here for a decent period of time is a good start, but then preferably I want to see it break above and hold above this uptrend line, so come into this area right here. So we pop on the daily very quickly. Let's see, in the last few days since the last video, we actually did indeed do that. So we were in this no man's land area right here in between these two, and in the last 3 days we did break above. We had a little spike about 4 days ago, but it was a failed move to hold above. But then, this is the third 3 or 4 days ago, we had that move right above into this purple box area that I had been speaking about, kind of centered around the middle of that, a little bit of a spike above. So I was talking about an area that I would like to see break into and hold above, or hold within, for a decent period of time, of between 2050 to 2060 US dollars. We did break into that. You can actually see right here, I made this video, I think around about here, so it was before this spike, and I was talking about this area here of 2050 to 2060, with a clear, just a beautiful little spike right up to it. It acted as resistance. We flirted with this range right here, but then no, it was a failed move, so breakdown back below this trend line. And then just a few days ago, we had that move, and we actually closed within this range. So that was looking good, but then the next day, right back down. So this is the roller coaster nature currently of gold and silver too, when I show you that. Interestingly, on the daily time frame, we had a spike back down on that day, back down to this trend line right here, and then a little move back up, but then a spike down to, what do you know, down to the top end of this rectangular triangle purple box here, which I've had drawn in for a few weeks now at least. So a little retest. On the positive side, it's good to see that it was a little spike. So we actually closed the day above this trend line, just above it. So that's the good news for gold if you're looking for the price to continue to go up. So good news so far. I wouldn't say it's bad news just yet. And the fact that we have opened the day so far green, and we are trending above this trend line, we're hovering above this trend line, I should say, that's looking 50-50 so far. So it's great to see that we've moved up. We had a test, we've had a back test and a spike down, and really good to see that we held above this area here, as I just said, and we're still above it. So far so good for gold. I'm not going to say 100% that we are, heading up from here, or that we're heading down from here. I would have been more confident if we had stayed above this trend line right here. But we're just back into that sort of no man's land area right here. Something has to give very soon, and it will. Breaking down below and holding below, I would say on the daily time frame, below this trend line, then I would be worried that we're heading down further. And my next lower target, if you haven't been watching for the last couple of weeks, if you're a new subscriber, welcome. My next target lower, big major target, $1,975 right there. And breaking above, well, again, I just need to see it break above this trend line and hold above it. So I'm going to stick with, for now, this area of, and I'll just extend it out for you, this area of that 2050 to 2060 area that I needed to stay above at least and hold above in that area, but then you're contending with this uptrend line right here. So let's stick with forming some kind of support within the 2050 to 2060 area, and then once we break that, hopefully we do, I needed to see it above this trend line. But then we're getting into your sort of your all-time high kind of territories. The big one that you would want to see it at least break over and hold above is that little interim high right here, and that's at $2,088, let's call it $2,090 right there. But so far for gold, just riding the roller coaster. Good to see above this trend line. Those are the key indicators that I'm watching out for the next week. Where do you think the price of gold is going in the next week? Post a comment below. Let me know your thoughts. That is gold. Keeping it short and sharp. Let's head over to silver. Again, still riding the roller coaster. The good old price roller coaster. It's been doing so, and I've been talking about this range. I started talking about this range, I think, last week. And except for this little spike down here, we've been in this range between this Fibonacci level, $20.50, $20.60, to the infamous $26 level. Very quickly, I harp on it every single week. If you're a new subscriber and you don't know what I'm talking about, others bear with me in just a second. $26 has been a long-term support level here, and then it became a long-term resistance level. So it's a big line in the sand. We need to break above that $26 level. So that is the range we've been in on this roller coaster for a while, all the way back to November of 2022. You can see we've just been ranging in between these two areas right here, that little spike down, but that's just a spike. You can see the sort of the cluster around that Fibonacci level of $20.50, $20.60. So that's the roller coaster we're on, and we're currently in, as you've been watching last week, if you have been watching, the symmetrical triangle pattern. So we're still within that range. Look like we may have been starting to break out in the last week, but no, it is coming back down to the bottom end right here, this uptrend line. The more you visit a trend line, the more likely it is to be taken out. You could certainly see a bounce for a third time. I would suggest if we come back and test it for a fourth time, then it's more likely to be taken out. So I really want to see a bounce. Actually, I don't even want to see it come down to this trend line, preferably, but if we do, I want to see it bounce from there. So if we do that in, say, the next week, this is the weekly time frame, I wouldn't want to see it break anywhere below the $21.90 area. I'll actually put that in right here. Can you see that right there, that area of support, this little spike down and this little spike down? So I'm going to pop that in, just keep it in the back of your mind. That's an area of support that you would want to see it hold $21.90. If you want to call it 22 even, that's up to you, but we'll just leave it at $21.90. So just riding the roller coaster. So I want to see it hold above this uptrend line, breaking down from here. Again, if you're a new subscriber, you didn't see last week's video, breaking down from 21.90 or down through this uptrend line right here, breaking this triangle pattern. I would suggest we're coming back down again to the bottom end of the Fibonacci range, the range between $20.50 and $26. We'd come back possibly to test $20.50, $20.60 again, and if that does not act as support, then we're likely coming back down, quite possibly, down to this area of that $17 to $18 mark. Now, of course, anything I say is not financial advice. Take it all with a grain of salt. This is just my personal opinion, not necessarily the opinion of Ainslie, but so far so good. We are in that trading range, and while we're in that range, maybe you just dollar cost average. If you're just buying regularly with your paycheck every couple of weeks, you're buying your physical silver, you might be buying the gold silver standard AGS token, even a little plug for that again. So that again, that is digitized gold. It's on the blockchain, backed by real physical silver. So you might be dollar cost averaging into that or buying the physical, but we're just in that range at the moment. Obviously, what I need to see is it break out, preferably above, for me to be confident that we're going to visit the top end of this triangle and then really make a play for it. I needed to break above here. I mentioned it last week, $24.50. Break above and then hold at least on the daily, preferably the weekly time frame. Then I'd be more confident that, you know, we've had one touch here. Well, that's not even one touch. This is the point where we started the trend line, and I've popped it through this trend line here. So this would technically be a second touch of it. Again, the more you touch a trend line, the more likely it is to be taken out. So I want to see above 24.50, hold a support, and then make a crack for this, and then hopefully break through. And gee, I can't even count the number of times now, but sixth time a charm for $26. That's your big one right there. And again, if you're new, my final hurdle is at $31.20. That's after that, and it holds above and breaks the support. That's when I know silver is absolutely on its way to new all-time highs in the preceding months and years ahead. But in that current trading range, just riding that roller coaster at the moment. You have my lower targets, my targets to look out for. You've got my upper targets that we need to break through. That is silver. Now, let's go to good old Link. Are you part of the Link army? Chainlink, the oracle of the internet. If you don't know what an oracle is, look it up. It's big in, obviously, the traditional, in TradFi and in the traditional world. Oracles are a very, very large thing. And Link was the first, as far as I'm aware, to be the oracle of the internet. Many companies, including Ainslie, as far as I'm aware, and I will be corrected very swiftly if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty darn certain that Ainslie uses, and it could be the gold silver standard, but uses the Chainlink Oracle as part of the process. So even Ainslie has, Link within its ecosystem. Again, if I'm wrong, someone will slap me down straight away, but I'm I'm pure silver, 99.99% positive. But I'm taking a look at Link today for a couple of reasons. We've seen a good price appreciation after this big consolidation right here. So I'll quickly go through the peaks and the troughs, etc. Plus also, it happens to be one of the cryptos that you can purchase at ainsleycrypto.com.au. If you go to the swap section, you can buy, you can swap it, you can sell it as well, sell it back to us, a Chainlink in Australian dollars. The process is very simple, buying crypto through Ainslie Crypto. You can also give us a call and organize it over the phone, etc. So give Ainslie Crypto a call. Go to their ainsleycrypto.com.au and go into, there you go right there, Chainlink. Yes, I knew Chainlink was part of the Ainslie ecosystem, and it's part of the Ainslie Crypto ecosystem right there. If you hit the contact us button, you can find Ainslie Crypto's details. Good old Chainlink right there. So let's take a look at it. So Chainlink, the oracle of the internet, do your research on it. I don't think it's a crypto that's disappearing anytime soon. Let me put it that way. Where it tops out at or where the price goes to, I don't know, not financial advice, but look, it is all around the crypto space. It's in TradFi as well. It skirts both worlds, so I think it's got a great future. Again, just my opinion. But here's the Binance price. So it's been around for a little bit longer than Binance took it up, but we'll just use the Binance price here. This is down when it was 12 cents, and then all the way up to a peak in May of 2021 at $54. That is that is a 45,000% increase. Imagine purchasing Link around here and then getting out here. No one probably ever did that. That's not a thing where you buy the absolute bottom and sell the absolute top. But imagine riding that way for a good period of time. You've probably done quite well, and maybe you still hold it. But topped out at 54, and then we had the dead cat bounce, the relief rally, and we're going higher, and no. So then we went into the bear market, and then since April of 2022, we've just been in this trading range, just around about between sort of $5 to, let's call it $10. So it's basically a $5 range for the last nearly 2 years. And then we finally broke out. You can see here we had this low in the bear of $4.80, and then we finally broke out, this again on the weekly time frame, we broke out in October of last year, and then we've just been in a nice little price rise since then. So let's take a look at the main resistance points and see where possibly Chainlink could go in the future. What I'm going to use is Fibonacci. I find Fibonacci to be very predictive, particularly with the gold and silver market. I find it to be pretty well predictive as well for the crypto market too. Not for every single crypto, but many of them do follow Fibonacci price action. And why that is, well, it's probably just a self-fulfilling prophecy. If enough people believe that Fibonacci is a predictive tool, then they make their trades accordingly, which then takes the price that way. But let's take it from the high of 54 and the recent low of $4.80. Is there any confluence of prices after that fact? I would say yes. If you can see that right here, we have a cluster of resistance. And maybe if I pop this onto the daily time frame for you, you can see it very clearly there. I think that's quite predictive. You can see right here again the high of 54 and the low of that $4.80 area. I don't think I have it exact, but you can see the resistance right there at that is the 0.236 Fibonacci from the old high and the recent low. So you can see it has been an area of resistance. We came up to that. It's about $16.30 roughly. Resistance here on the daily time frame. Let's pump in. So resistance, failed move, fast move to the downside, failed move, attempt to spike above. It only lasted about a day, and then a failed move to the downside. Again, lasted about a day, maybe 2 days, and then a failed move. So oftentimes from a failed move comes a fast move in the opposite direction once again, and another one. So we're talking 1, 2, failed move 3, failed move 4, resistance 5 times. Okay, so that's why I find this Fibonacci level, again from that high and that low, to be quite predictive. And then just in February of this year, so just a few days ago, we're on the daily chart, we finally broke through and spiked above and have held so far as support. So I would say, personally, not financial advice, all that stuff, that we have cleared this Fibonacci area and we're possibly making our play for the next area. Now, there's things that we need to take into account. Take a look at the relative strength index, for example. We are, on the daily time frame, we are heading into, but we haven't spent a lot of time in, we are heading into overbought territory. With the RSI, the relative strength index, you go through periods of overbought to oversold. When you get into periods of extremely overbought, that tends to be a time where people may take some profits. Again, it depends on the time frame that you're looking at, but this is on the daily, so people may take some profits around this extreme area right here, and then similarly, when people feel that there's enough selling, it's gone to this extremely oversold area, people start buying again. So take that into account with a grain of salt, but it looks like we've just moved into the overbought territory, or extremely overbought. We haven't spent a lot of time in there yet, so could be a bit of price action to the upside to go. Let's take a look at the weekly time frame. Now, on the weekly, you can see that we have already spent some time in extremely overbought, and that's when we had that spike above, the breakout of this channel right here, and we had that spike up to the 0.236 resistance level of $16.30 roughly. So we went into extremely overbought on the weekly. We have spent some time back down into the sort of normal range of the relative strength index, and then we are trending back up. Now, what you can see on previous price history with Link is that you can come up and spend some time in extremely overbought on the weekly time frame, come back down, and then actually head back up again. And so that's a number of weeks. So a number of weeks can go by where you spend time in extremely overbought and then head back down. But there are periods where, in sort of more excited periods, where you can spend time in extremely overbought, come back down, and then head back into that area. So the question is, Are we going to top out around about the top here? Is that the top for link for a while? Personally, my opinion is we could spend a number of more weeks heading up into the overbought or extremely overbought territory for link, and that wouldn't surprise me. Okay, so I'm definitely not saying heading up from here. I'm definitely not saying only going lower from here, but just do take that into account. And here are the main areas that I'm looking for as big resistance. So we've already had that big resistance level. We spent some time here at $16.30. Finally, just in the last few days, we have broken out above it. The start of this week is looking good so far. We are green for the week, and it's Tuesday now, so we've got a number of days till the end of the week. So here are my resistance levels, and I'll tell you the main resistance level, the big hurdle that I'm looking for. So obviously I'm going to personally use the Fibonacci levels as areas of resistance to at least look out for. You may have, peaks and troughs along the way, but if we are going to be making new all-time highs, breaking $50, $54 for link in the next, few months and year, etc., here are my levels. So right here, a little level right here, that's at $23.50 right there. So just take that into account. What you can do, if you like, you can pause this video and take a snapshot and look at these numbers right here. They are my resistance levels, and I'll mention just quickly in a second what the big main level is for me. But right here you have that next level here at $23.50 US. That's the 0.382 Fibonacci. The 50%, the 0.5 Fibonacci is right here at the $29.30 mark. That's another one to look out for. And what you might see, for example, what you might see is a spike up to $23.50, and then we range back down to somewhere down to this kind of area, and then we head our way back up. It could act as major resistance, and then we head all the way back down. Again, I'm not a fortune teller or a soothsayer, but this could be an area of resistance. Again, here at that $29.30, sort of $30 area. For me, though, the big line in the sand is right here at the 0.618 Fibonacci level, again from this old high and this old low, and that's right here at $35. Let me pop that in as a horizontal blue line so you can see it a little bit better. Actually, no, I'll pop it in as a rectangular box. I'll give you a slight little range. Let's call it, we'll call it 35 roughly. We'll have a small rectangular box just so you can see it a little bit better, and I'll keep that in for a while. So hopefully we'll revisit this at some stage, and I'll keep this here. That is my big hurdle before, if we do make all-time highs. So it needs to break this area right here. Why is that? Because it's the 0.618. It's usually a key Fibonacci level, but also take a look at the areas of resistance. Big area of resistance here back in Feb 2021, and then when we broke back down, it's been an area of resistance here in September of 2021, and another area of resistance in November of 2021, and since then has yet to break above. So 1, 2, 3 plus the 0.618 Fibonacci from this high and this low tells me it's a very key hurdle. So I would call that the final hurdle that we need to break above, hold above, and then test as support, and then bounce off it in order for me to be confident that we would be on our way to breaking new all-time highs and making new all-time highs for link. Now let's play blue sky thinking, and that happens. Okay, we're talking, a bunch of months of time, years time, etc., 6 months to a year, etc. Let's talk. Let's pretend that we have broken that. What are the next price discovery? And I'm going to suggest it's going to be, could be the $84, $85 level. I'm more partial personally to the 2.618 and the 4.236 levels. Rather than the 1.618 right here. So I'm going to say if we are ever going to make a new all-time highs in link, I would suggest that the price will come up to, you'll have the psychological value of 100. Of course, that's going to be a thing. It always tends to be. So I'll pop that in right there. So let's pop that in $100 right there. It's going to be a psychological value, but really I'm going to be looking at this range right here as my final sort of blow off top that we could potentially come up to, and I'm going to say 133 to, anyway, it's a big range. We're going to say 133 to 212 US dollars. right there. Now, just because I've put it there doesn't mean it's going to occur within that time frame. I'll put it over here. And the reason I'll put it here, and this kind of lines up with this horizontal line right here. What's this? I've got this written in as cycle end. Definitely not saying this is going to happen, of course, not financial advice, all that stuff. But as we've talked about with the Bitcoin price, it goes through a 4-year cycle, and where Bitcoin goes, the altcoins tend to follow in sort of lockstep roughly. Usually when Bitcoin peaks, the altcoins peak around about that time, maybe a week or two afterwards usually. That's when they have their little peak as well. So I'm going to put it around about here. If history rhymes like it has in the last couple of cycles, you may potentially find that the peak in the LINK price may coincide with the peak of the Bitcoin price if that's going to repeat as well. So that's why I'm going to put it right there. So that's my potential target, my top target for LINK for the end of this cycle, if indeed it does get to there. So I'm going to say between $130 to $200 roughly within that area. But in the meantime, we have a lot of hurdles to get over. As I said, the big hurdle right here at $35 plus all those Fibonacci resistance levels on the way. And of course, this could just be a huge fake out and then we just head back down. So if we are heading back down, I would suggest that this becomes an area of support right here. I'll just open that up as well. But I would say the top end of this channel would become a support level. If we break down through this Fibonacci level of $16.30 and we come back and it then acts as resistance again, then I'd be suggesting we're heading back down to this channel and it'd be the top end of this channel. So it just depends where it hit. Let's say, for example, it lines up with previous support. You could call it maybe here for an example, or maybe even here actually for example. So somewhere within this range could be the low. So we'll talk around about there maybe, but that's, you know, just a possibility. You're talking, you know, $7 to $8 roughly. Again, this would have to fail as support and then act as resistance and then would be back down. I'm not saying it's going there, and I'm also not saying it's definitely going there either, but these are the main areas for Chainlink that I would be looking out for, with that hurdle of $35 being the big one that would indicate a extra bull run is going on for LINK. So, though that is my opinion, again, pause this and take a snapshot if you want. I will revisit LINK some point down the track. I don't know when, but we'll do another crypto next week. Let me know in the comments what you would like us to focus on crypto-wise. Of course, you'll always get gold and silver and sometimes platinum as well. That has been your weekly precious metals and crypto price analysis and update. Head over to ainsleyBullion.com.au, ainsleycrypto.com.au if you want to check out potentially buying LINK, and also goldsilverstandard.com for your gold and silver on the blockchain backed by real physical metal. Thank you very much for watching. Balance your wealth in an unbalanced world. Take care. We'll see you next time.